No, yeah, another thing that we were looking at is, our ERP has the ability to store alternative part numbers, keywords, um, different things like that. And obviously, I think you put that all into the PIM too, because that's another thing we face. Is it'd be nice on the website if you put in, hey, competitive crosses. You could put that in there too. That's a big part of our business where someone types in a competitor's part number and it goes to ours. Another one is items get discontinued all the time. And right now, sometimes we'll leave them on so the person can find it, but then we'll tag it with an alternative and they'll say alternative and then click on it. But it'd be nice if you could remove that item, but if the person types in the old part number, it just takes them right to the new one. We have the ability to do that in our ERP. It's a little bit messy, and then we got to write code to connect it to Magento.
We do that again for that plumbing because of the number of SKUs, and as you said, things come on and off, and being able to relate. I mean, one of their problems was they wanted to be able to relate their part number, the manufacturer's part number, competitive part numbers, common description, right? Different things. All of that relationally is much more easily manageable inside of a PIM. And then my experience, Marshall, is that ERPs often have a limit on text. Not all of them, right? But very often we'll run.
Ours does.
Yeah. So we'll run into this thing where you have a very limited description to be able to pull and design against. PIM doesn't have that, right? We can put in tremendously long amounts of information. Not that you necessarily want to always display that, because you can decide what to display, but for the ability to do what you just described is really important. And that's where I think the superiority of a PIM versus doing it in an ERP works better. And then you can take it back and relate it into the ERP, or vice versa. You can have it in the ERP, but you're really displaying it to the website and making decisions around those things inside of Magento and a PIM.
Yeah, and so that's kind of a really good example. And so our ERP, the short description is what we call only allows, 43 characters.
Mm-hmm.
There's an extended description that's got an amount. And then, so oftentimes we have our P21 short description. We have that extended information. We have a short description for our website, which is totally usually different than what the ERP system is.
Right.
And we've got a long description for that. So that's kind of the envisioning is, okay, you've got part XYZ. Here's your ERP description. Here's your short description for the website. Here's your long description. And then even another little twist in that is we do a lot of vendor managed inventory where some items might need to have a really unique description to fit on a label that goes on a bin somewhere. So you would have that too. And oftentimes we're always recreating it and redoing the work over and over again.
Oh, you've just justified a PIM right there. Like that is
that's what I needed
perfect
to hear.
use case for it. I mean, that's exactly why you have them, because I had the same issue. I had these little tiny, descriptions in PIM, which work for production, for assembly line kind of thing, but not in on a website. And not to mention the category tree that they maintain there is terrible too. So I think once, so let's say you hire Core Shop. I apologize. Core Shop is in my brain.
It's okay, Ted.
You hire
just as long as you keep me hired, Ted. I don't care what you call.
Yeah. So once like the kickoff will be, hey, can we see your spreadsheets? And then we're going to try and map this. And then the first blush at it is like pretty good, but you're like, you know what? I really don't. And then so after a course of 3 or 4 different iterations, it's pretty darn good. In fact, I build some of my descriptions based on the information from PIM. I'll just fold it all together and make a description. Once, but that comes like maybe version 2 or version 3. And by the version 3 or 4, you're just like, I don't have to do anything anymore for this. It's all done. It's just going from ERP into the system and I don't have to touch it. And that's where I had to be, because and our business margins aren't huge. on the product itself. So I've always got to be conscious of, what I'm spending versus how much margin the site, makes.